I'm Gab, he's Jules. Blue skies over West London. If I sound a little weird, I'm sorry. I'm just off an intercontinental flight, but I rushed back, Jules, because we got to do the show.
Yes, of
because
course.
there's so much going on.
Yeah.
There's the Ballon d'Or. There's his moment of absolute stupidity. I
Yeah.
don't even know how to define that. Tons to get into, but we're going to start with Real Madrid and Levante. Now, resounding win. I think this is a game where, like, obviously Vinicius was in the obvious spotlight because of
Yeah.
Song before and rumors and people. I mean, Chiringuito and Marca even saying like, "Oh, he could leave in January. He does have a contractual issue. Is he sulking?" And then he goes out, and that goal kind of reminds you.
Yeah, how good he is, really. Even if all around, especially in that first half, it was not always the threat that he should be considering his talent, but it's a wonderful goal outside of his right foot. I think even he said after the game, one of the best goals he's ever scored, and rightly so. In a Real Madrid team where we saw again a different system from Xabi Alonso.
It was
with a
almost
kind of
a
back
3-5-2.
three. Yeah,
Yeah.
completely. I thought you can say that. Mastantuono almost as a right wing back in a game where they had a lot of the ball, obviously, and I'm not sure you can play like that against Barcelona or even Atletico Madrid, etc. We'll see at the weekend for the derby, but certainly against a team like Levante that is a small team, but also that plays a lot. I thought it was very good what Levante did at times. I think Julian Calero is a good coach, and there's a lot of good things they do there. But it was probably the right time for Xabi Alonso to go again with that formation. No Chouameni, Fran Garcia on the left-hand side, which I thought worked really well with Vini. And then another 2 goals from Mbappe and the first one from Mastantuono. So overall, a very good night, which was magnified, I think, by the Vini goal.
Yeah, Vini also had the assist for Mastantuono on the second one. And, like, I don't want to overlook this guy, and nor do I want to hype him up. But, hey, this is part showbiz, right?
Yeah.
So the pass from Vini, he gets the assist and great points for vision. It's actually not a great pass. It's actually behind him. He has to break his stride to collect it. And then he goes forward, and the defender's there. And I'm like, okay, he's gonna come on to a stronger foot. He's gonna do a little move. He doesn't. He finishes with his right foot, which is the guy's a left-footed player.
Yeah.
That to me speaks volumes about the confidence this kid has, the intensity. I mean, this is a number 10 who lands in Madrid. Obviously read up about Xabi Alonso. This is what I like about him. This is what I imagine. Maybe none of this is true. But I imagine him saying, hey, look, Vini's really good, but he gets criticized because he's lazy. Mbappe got criticized last year, didn't work enough off the ball. There's so much competition. Xabi Alonso likes wide players who work and track back. If you have a prayer of getting into this team, you can't be, look at me, I'm number 10, because there's lots of great number 10s. There's lots of people who can match your talent. You got to go. I have to go and I have to show him my work rate. And he's an absolute beast up and down that wing.
Yeah, he's strong. I mean, I think he had that before at River. I don't think this is new. I think he worked hard at River. He played wide at River on the right-hand side, so same position, really. And I think when you're that age, if you don't run at that age, I mean, when are you going to run? You know, he's got all that energy. And he kind of also, I know not all South Americans, and we can't do like generalization, but they kind of have that hunger. I think sometimes, like some of them
to work hard off the ball. Well, we've just been hammering Vini, who's also South American.
Like Argentine, Uruguayans, those kind of players, I think have or can have that in their locker.
Yes.
But he's still, and when you think everything you said is true, but you still see him play. And again, this is a game where, let's see at the weekend in the derby against Atletico, where it should not be as open as this, and it was not easy for Real Madrid. But it's still tiny Levante promoted side.
He was good against Marseille too.
Yeah. But again, in a no offense to Marseille, but this is not Atletico Madrid. Or certainly what Atletico can offer to counter Real Madrid, I mean. Because there's still moments where he's not far from doing even perfect, and yet there's still that room for improvement in his decision making, some of the decisions. So it's looking really good, I think, from him.
So what you're saying is I shouldn't plan on like the next 15 years of Mastantuono against Lamine Yamal the way it was.
No, you should. Absolutely, you should.
You're putting him in that category.
Yeah. It's just the potential is there. It's we thought the same about Rodrigo, and
All right, Jules, more broadly on this, if I can just put this out further, um, there's so many, like, we think of Mbappe and Holland as the next generation, right? Picking up the Messi Ronaldo mantle and whatever, right? But then if you look at sort of the under 22 category, there's so much to get legit excited about, whether it's Lamine Yamal, whether it's Mastantuono, whether it's Kenan Yildiz. There's got to be others I'm forgetting.
Yeah, Desiree Doué, all those kind of guys. Yeah, for sure.
It has me really excited. And I wonder if, obviously, Holland and Mbappe both started the season really well. Although, weirdly, this is actually, Holland, I think, has 8 goals in 5 games.
Yeah.
I know this is his worst start to a season.
Yeah, it usually starts very strongly, doesn't it?
It's crazy. 8 goals in 5 games, and it's your worst start of a season since arriving at Manchester City. I'm. Is there any broader trend that can explain this? These sort of like teenagers who look fully formed.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a cycle or if it's something that is going to be more consistent through the years, and then in 5 years you got the next generation. So the Max Diamond, for example, generation, that one, the 15 who are 15, 16 now, coming through, or if it's just an exceptional generation, which might be the case. I don't know. Obviously, in the Ballon d'Or top 10, only Lamine was that kind of age, but then the others are coming. You're right. So it's very exciting. I just think this generation is impatient, more prepared, more mature than the generation before, even the Mbappe Haaland generation, who were already top in terms of like kind of Mbappe project, if you want, of like being already professional before you are professional. It's funny you said that because I was in Rennes 2 weeks ago to do something on Dembele in case he won the Ballon d'Or with some of the people who coached him when he was like 14, 15, etc. And the kind of head of the academy there said that even under 14, 15, for players who are at the Rennes Academy, which is the best academy in France, probably top 5 in Europe, if not top 3 in Europe, they train and play 6 days of the week. The Sunday is usually the day where they don't have anything, so they can rest. At that age, you need to rest. And yet, every Sunday, pretty much the whole under 14 squad, under 15 squad have one-on-one coaching session with a private coach that the parents pay for to coach their kids on a Sunday. And this is something you would have never seen 10 years ago, 15. And I believe not just Rennes, but there's a lot of academies where the players get more coaching from outside, even when you are top academies like the Rennes one or the Arsenal one or the City one, which is something that would have never happened before. So I think they are so much more prepared mentally, physically, technically to arrive at 15, 16, 17 and say, I'm here and I'm ready to play.
It's interesting, the individual coaching side of it. Normally, like you said, it's something you associate with, maybe wealthy parents with kids who want to improve or whatever. You certainly don't imagine that somebody who's in a top academy would go and seek this out outside of football. It's there are examples, but it's very, very rare. Mbappe just continues. That was a legit Panenka.
Yeah, lovely.
I might remind people that I interviewed Panenka. I spoke to the real Panenka. That story's somewhere in the ESPN archives. You can go and check it out. I think the real Panenka would approve of how it was taken. When I saw the lineup, I was wondering, because every time I've seen Carreras play, he looks to me like a winger, like one of those sort of more power wingers than like kind of fleet-footed wingers, right?
Like a better version than Fran Garcia, basically. That's what you mean.
Well, but I wouldn't associate Fran Garcia's little.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking more.
More powerful, you mean? Yeah, okay.
Of a Luis Figo type winger, who plays fullback. That's kind of how, sort of very attacking that way. So when I heard the lineup announced, I thought, oh, that's interesting. I guess Asensio is going to play in the middle with Hyson, and Carreras is going to play on the right. Because certainly traditionally, you imagine if you can play left back, you can probably play right back too. It's not, yes, wrong foot, blah, blah, blah. But there's a lot of players who have done it. It used to be pretty standard.
Yeah.
Instead, he moves them into the center back position. And we can say it's more of a hybrid back three because he doesn't attack them. And we were saying, it was almost like a 3-5-2
Yeah.
that we saw from them. But he didn't miss a beat, I thought.
No, yeah,
And
it was
that
good.
really impressed me. And I didn't realize he had that ability to do that. I mean, he's only a center back in like that kind of back three-ish type thing.
Yeah, I think so. He helped that he was a back three. He helped that he was against Levante. Even if I like a lot Carlos Alvarez, they like young, left-footed right winger. It's a young up front who scored a nice opportunistic goal and who's very talented and has an amazing story considering 3 years ago he was still playing Cameroon. But you do it in this game. You could not leave Carreras and Huijsen as a two in a centre back partnership, for example. So it works there, and it also works because you knew at some point you would play, even if Levante are a little good playing team, you play in their halves, and Carreras is quick, so he's great for recovery, more than Asensio, probably more than Huijsen as well. So I think that worked well in a game where you had 65 or 70% of the ball and an XG of almost like 4 or something. So I think it was a good time to try that. It's probably somewhere in the back of Xabi Alonso's mind to see, okay, who can play there as a left-footed defender. There's no room for Alaba in this team anyway. So Militao is right-footed, Huijsen is right-footed, Asensio is right-footed, Tchouaméni, when he plays centre-back, is right-footed, or in the back three, Rudiger is right-footed. So this is also a good option to have if in a game you need the kind of passing platform with a left-footed player in that position for your build-up.
Which you're not going to get, by the way, when Ferland Mendy returns. Obviously, he's not going to do that. And Frank Garcia is a different sort of player.
Absolutely. That's right.
It's okay. We need to remind people that Carreras was a Manchester United player.
He was indeed.
Your opportunity to troll whatever genius.
Yeah, he was just not good enough, was he? No.
But okay, so I'm going back. Would have been what, 3 years ago? Something like that?
Yeah, something like 3-4 years ago. Yeah.
So did he fall through the crack in that Solskjaer Rangnick period?
I don't think so. Because we can make fun, but every top club at some point have had a young player that was just not the right time and the right environment, I guess is probably the right word for him to shine at that club. So we don't need to go again onto I don't know, some of those clubs and some of those examples. Yeah, like a Mourinho, Mo Salah, and a Mourinho, De Bruyne, and Chelsea. But
I think those are
a bit different because they're later running.
Because they spend money on them. They've already played top flight football. I think this underscores something. I mean, I did a piece with Alessandro Galleni, who's I think his title is Chief Football Officer or whatever at Genoa, and he really reinforced this notion of pathways for young players, and that you have to have a plan for them. You have to have a pathway because at some point, and for those who don't know, the way it works varies a little bit from league to league, but normally at 16, the vast majority of players sign contracts which are generally for not a lot of money. Usually, sometimes they're mandated to be only 3 years. Sometimes they can be longer. And that's when you kind of make the big call, because normally in year 1 or 2 of that contract, because you don't want it to get to the end because you risk losing them on a free, that's when then you have to commit, and it's usually a 5-year deal. And if they've played first of team football and been really good, if they're Bukayo Saka or whatever, then you will get the big contract. If not, you have to kind of tier that. And I think that's kind of what happened with Carreras. And you need to weigh up who is in front of him in that role.
Yeah.
And at that time, I mean, remind me, it's Luke Shaw.
Yeah.
It's Luke Shaw, and maybe they lost him. Again, I don't know. I have the exact time thing, and I'm sure
I can't remember.
The United Verse will come back and get me on this. I wonder if it was that period where Rangnick was there for only 6 months, and it's not something we can blame
but maybe he was not ready either. Maybe it was just as simple as he hadn't matured in his game, in his personality, mentally, physically. He was just not ready. He's still a young player. At 18, not everybody is ready to play for Manchester United. Whether they're a good United or a bad United or a United crisis.
Listen, Ethan Nwaneri is not ready to start for Arsenal, and yet you think one day he will be, so you give him a big contract.
True.
And you look to develop him.
True.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
I don't expect people to be ready at 18 or 19. But if the player is there, it's clearly, I think it's another failure when you lose a player like that in those circumstances, because it's not like he left there to go to Paris Saint-Germain. He left there to go to Benfica. As part of like a recycling project. And again, obviously agents involved. I don't know who represents him. But I'm sure Benfica didn't come along and say, hey, look, we'll pay you 10 times whatever Manchester United, because that's not the economics of it.
No.
Sometimes players move on because they get offered big contracts by other clubs. I mean, young players I'm talking about. Or because they have a fallout with the coaches.
Yeah. I'm not sure United should get the blame here for letting him go. I just don't think he was ready at the time. You can't keep every player when you don't think they're ready for that pathway towards the first team. So, they sold him for a little amount with a percentage, with selling fee. So they got some money in the end for him, not as much as the 50 million that obviously Real Madrid paid Benfica for him. But I think it's inevitable at top clubs. Things like that will always happen.
Yeah, you will make mistakes.
Yeah,
it happens.
absolutely.
And, I could have just mentioned Cole Palmer if you want,
Yeah, exactly.
Jude Bellingham.
Yeah.
We thought he was going to come back much later than he did.
Yeah.
He came on as a sub. And now it's, to use one of those stereotypes we football journalists like to use, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. It's still a problem.
Yeah.
Because you're at Real Madrid. It's the biggest goldfish bowl in the world.
Yeah.
Whatever lineup you put out, you're going to get second guessed.
Yeah.
And you can either rotate players constantly, but then you don't have chemistry. And also players aren't stupid. Hey, look, I don't get to play in the Clásico, but I get to play against Levante or Leganés or whatever. How do we think? All right, first, let me turn this around. Okay, which players are 100% certain that if they're fit, they will start almost every game?
So we look at that midfield three, right?
Well, let's start from the back. Courtois, yeah.
Yeah.
I would have thought Hyson.
Yeah. Carreras, whether it's a left back or a left centre back in this back three.
You think he's that far along that?
Oh yeah,
he's
definitely
ahead of Mendy and Franco. Okay.
Yeah.
Right back, obviously, no. The other center backs is a revolving feast.
Yeah.
I would have thought Valverde, but now 100%? I'm not so sure.
No, 100% Valverde.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other midfielders up for grabs?
Yeah, although I think Arda Güler, for me, has cemented his place in the starting lineup, Bellingham or no Bellingham. His connection with Mbappe, as we see on the fourth goal and the second from Mbappe, is brilliant. It's not the first time they find each other with their eyes closed. And I think Xabi needs the creativity of Güler. His constant movement is a very different player to Bellingham, obviously. So for me, it's the third. For Bellingham, it's just that third player in that midfield. Okay. So it's him or Tchouaméni or
Camavinga also back.
But that's it.
And then obviously up front, Mbappe is obvious, but Vini, we don't feel that good about. Well, obviously, I mean,
true,
tremendous game, but it doesn't mean he's going to be an automatic choice because I think he might still alternate him with Rodrigo.
Yeah. So
and on the right, Mastantuono's done great so far, but then there's still Brahim Diaz. There's the possibility of
so there's a few options.
So Mastantuono's maybe not 100% certain either.
No. But still ahead of Bellingham in that, unless Xabi changes everything and Bellingham plays on the right hand side, for example, which Carlo did a bit last season.
Which otherwise, he didn't particularly enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. And we didn't enjoy seeing him there either, to be fair.
Could we see a change of formation to a front two?
Maybe you could, you could. But
then
again, what's your midfield four behind that?
I go back to the basic point. If you're Jude Bellingham at this stage, and Ancelotti did the same thing. Okay, I'm not as sold on Güler as you are. Obviously, he's done phenomenal, but I think Bellingham gives you different things. I think you still have the issue of creativity in midfield. Güler may be more creative than Bellingham, but Bellingham gives you obviously a lot more presence.
Yeah.
I think there's so much give and take, and if I'm Bellingham, I go to him right now and say, boss, I was the best player in LaLiga playing at number 10 stroke center forward, but I can play central midfield. I can do what Tchouaméni does. I can do what Valverde does. I can do what Güler does. I can play center forward too.
Yeah.
So I am here for you. Make me a better player. Make me central to your team. Let me carry this team. That is the message I would give if I'm Jude Bellingham. And maybe it is what he's saying. We know he can. We've seen him do it. We've seen him do it, right?
I don't think Xabi Alonso needs Bellingham to carry this team. This team is already carried by Mbappe and maybe a few others. That's why I think it's difficult. It would be difficult for Bellingham to become this central player like he was 2 years ago. I really do. He's a great player, so it's amazing to have, and there might be a space for him somewhere, and Xabi is going to make this work. Amazing. But things have changed from 2 years ago. Last year was already a little bit iffy from him. And this year is 7 wins in 7 games without him. 6 in the league, 1 in the Champions League without him.
I'm with you, but he is Real Madrid.
Yeah.
I think he's still Real Madrid's most expensive player ever. After Cristiano. It's always
and Bale,
Cristiano, right? But I just find it extraordinary that at his age and what he can bring, there's a question about whether he fits into the starting lineup. That kind of shows you how quickly things can change in football. For me, I'd have him in there. I don't know the guy, but if he's a smart guy, and I think he seems to be. I mean, he's got maybe some other issues, but when he speaks, he seems like a smart guy. His future's in central midfield. It cannot be in that number 10 position on this team the way they have it set up.